On that gale warning, attention all shipping, especially in sea area Thames. The Met Office issued this gale warning to shipping at 0920 BST today, March 25th. Thames, westerly gale force 8 imminent. That's the end of the gale warning and the start of morning story. Today it's called The Quiet Life. It was written by E.R. Marshall and it's read by Robert Trotter.
You wouldn't believe how difficult it is to be a hermit these days. I mean, it shouldn't be impossible to find a remote, quiet spot to indulge in the contemplative life. But the trouble I've had, I'm wondering if it's worth it. Only, my master tells me I must persevere. Well, I'm not going into this without guidance. I've had a proper course, and it was worked out that the peace and solitude of a hermit's life was just right for me. My master, I wish he'd let me call him my guru or something more, well, romantic. Every time I say my master, I feel like a Siamese cat and a collie dog. Anyway, he said I must give up all my worldly possessions and take to the hills. Well, I did just that. I gave my master all my belongings, even my record player that I just made the last payment on. And I just kept enough cash to take a bus as far away from civilization as possible. Well, that would have been all right, only I discovered somebody had passed me 4 dud 10-bob bits, so I couldn't go as far into the countryside as I'd wanted. So, when I got off the bus, I walked into the hills till my feet wouldn't let me go any further. And I just lay down in the heather and went to sleep. Oh, it wasn't half cold during the night, though, even in my sleeping bag. Oh, yes, I wasn't completely unprepared. I mean, you can't turn into a hermit overnight. I'd brought my rucksack with some tins of food and my sleeping bag, and of course, my post office savings book. Mind you, I'd had some qualms over that book. Should I have given that to the master as well? Oh, but he couldn't expect me to live off the countryside right away. I mean, I have to eat while I learn the technique. Anyway, the first night was awful. The second night wasn't so bad because after I'd walked further into the hills, I found this cave. It's not big, but it's comparatively dry. And it's better than being out in the open. I have a fire going too. Well, mind you, fuel is going to be a problem. There's a sort of stunted plantation not far from the cave, but I can't help feeling I'll soon burn my way through that lot. That's why I only have a fire on morning and evening. Here I am then, trying my hardest to follow instructions and commune with nature, release my thoughts from their worldly shackles and let them rest on the greater problems of the universe, ignoring the demands of my body. That's what it said in my master's last letter, but oh, it's awful difficult. And take this business of ignoring the demands of the body, well, I don't think I'm greedy, but I get terribly hungry. Must be all the fresh air. I mean, you can't get into the right contemplative mood if your stomach suddenly makes loud gurgling noises. Well, I can't anyway. It upsets me. I tell you, if I hadn't this arrangement with a travelling shop, I'd have had to pack up and go home by now. Oh, I know it isn't right, but honestly, have you ever tried living off the countryside? I mean, there just aren't any berries and nuts in Scotland in May. I only buy vegetarian things, of course. I'm getting a bit sick of beans. That's not half expensive. I don't know what I'll do when my savings are finished. Well, it'll be nearly autumn by then, of course, and well, there should be berries and things ripe, and with any luck I'll have my bodily needs under control. Maybe. And let's hope there's a bit more peace by then, too. Though it'll get worse at first, I suppose, with the summer coming on. But at the moment, honestly, I never seem to have a minute's solitude. It all started really with some silly woman who saw me when I was down at the waste bin with all my empty tins. Well, it doesn't do to litter up the countryside with rusty tins. Besides, it spoils the image to see a hermit sitting in contemplation, surrounded by empty tins. I couldn't bury them because the ground's brick hard. So, this day, I bunged all the tins in my rucksack and set off to get rid of them. Now, that was a penance, too, on my feet in their present condition. I've never recovered from my first walk up here. My sandals don't half rub up the blisters. Oh, walking's no joke, I can tell you. Mind you, I was right put out when I discovered this road. It's only about a mile down the hill from my cave, and here was me thinking I was a fair bit from civilization. You see, I'd come up from the other side, and I must have covered about 7 or 8 miles that way. I never gave a thought to what was on the other side of my hill. I was right upset about it. Then the travelling shop van came along and I stopped him and filled up in supplies. And he told me there was a bin just a wee bit further up the road. Well, after I'd made arrangements to see the vanman regularly, I went off to dump my rubbish. And it must have been there that this woman saw me. I never saw her, so I get quite a surprise when this policeman comes puffing up to the cave, just as I was about to take up my special position for evening meditation. Really, he was so purple in the face, I was quite worried. I made him sit down while I boiled up some water and made tea to help him recover. When he'd got his breath back, he looked round and said, "Camping, eh, sir?" I told him I intended to live here, if that wasn't breaking any laws. And at that, he fixed me with his eye and said very formally, "A lady has reported a naked man running about on the road down there." Honestly, I was so mad I just stood up and flung out my arms and demanded to know if I looked naked. I mean, really, I was wearing 2 sheepskin rugs my mother had stitched together. There wasn't a gap anywhere, well, except where my head and legs and arms came out. The policeman was very reasonable. He agreed I was quite respectable, only he thought the colour of the sheepskin might have misled the lady, seeing it was roughly the same colour as my skin. I wasn't half annoyed at that, though I didn't say anything. I mean, my sheepskins are a dirty grey colour, but my legs, well, they're maybe pale, but they're not dirty. Anyway, he sat and prosed on for long enough. Then before he went, he warned me about poaching, but I told him I was a vegetarian. Hope he didn't notice my tins at the back of the cave, though, because it doesn't look right if you're supposed to be living off the country. He's been back twice since then, and always just when I'm going to start evening meditation. It's a right pest. Don't know whether he suspects me of some deep plot, or whether he just likes the walk. Well, the colour he has before he gets here, I shouldn't think so. Anyway, by the time he's blared on for half an hour, I've lost my mood for meditating. And as if he wasn't bad enough, there's this woman with her dogs. They turned up one night just after I'd crawled into my sleeping bag. The dogs first, baying at the cave mouth like a couple of wolves. Well, I quite like dogs, but I must admit I felt a bit nervous. I really thought they would go for me. And I was right glad when this woman appeared behind the dogs, roaring at them to be quiet. Well, since she was there, I thought it would be safe to get out of my bag. So I did. Would you believe it? The dogs turned and ran when I stood up. Well, the woman didn't, though. She just said, "Good evening," apologised for the dogs disturbing me and hoped I was enjoying my camping. You know, I'm getting right fed up with everybody thinking I'm just camping. I mean, I don't look like a camper. I haven't a tent or a primus or folding tables and chairs or any of the things campers usually have. Oh, but I didn't feel up to arguing, so I just agreed with her. She told me she always came up late during the summer so that she could exercise the dogs without being disturbed by troopers. Can't move on the hills in summer for them, she told me. Camping all over the place. After she said that, she looked a bit embarrassed and mumbled something about present company accepted. So I told her I wasn't camping, I was living here. And of course, she started asking all sorts of questions, and before I knew it, she had my fire going again. And I was making tea while she told me all about her guru who taught her yoga in India. You know, she didn't go away for hours. And she used up all my supply of sticks from her morning fire, and she only went because she said her people would be getting worried. "Don't want them sending out a search party, do we?" She roared back at me. She went off down the hill. If she talks like that at home, I should think we'll be hoping she's lost permanently. She's been back twice. It's awful. I think she might be considering taking up this life herself. Either that, or she's developing an interest in me, which is a terrible thought. Oh, there's nothing for it, I'm afraid. Once my feet are better, I'll have to go elsewhere. The trouble is, every time I walk down the road for my supplies, a new set of blisters starts up. Policeman said I should wear boots. I ask you, a hermit in boots. He also told me to steep my feet in the burn, and I did. My feet went blue, but it hasn't made any difference. Besides, I don't feel I'm progressing in a spiritual way either. I mean, I can't seem to get into the right state of meditation. And it can't just be all the people disturbing me because, well, I used to be able to reach a very deep state of meditation at home, even with the television blasting away downstairs. I just used to stretch out in my bed, and I could meditate like anything for hours. But here, it's just no use. And then this business of being nearer to nature, well, that's a right laugh. I haven't seen any wildlife, not even a rabbit. Mind you, I didn't exactly picture myself as a sort of St. Francis of Assisi, but I did think I'd communicate with the wild things a bit more. Yes, you know that story about Androcles and the lion? You know, where he takes the thorn out of the beast's foot, and it's so grateful it doesn't eat him and so on. Well, I reckon it's a load of codswallop. I mean, when I think of it, the lion wouldn't have let him touch the paw without swiping him one. And I speak from bitter experience. I'm not a lion, not likely, just a dog. You see, it came limping up the hill and I thought, right, here's my chance. I'll help the poor dumb creature. So I whistled softly, and when it came near, I reached out to take hold of its sore paw. And the rotten beast bit me and then turned and belted off down the hill. Well, it's a good job I'd some iodine in my first aid kit in my rucksack, or I might have been poisoned. Anyway, that put me right off helping poor dumb creatures, and I reckon Androcles was blasted lucky with his lion. Oh well, I'd better light my fire and heat my tin of beans. Oh, it looks like rain tonight. That means sleeping in a puddle. Oh, never mind. I expect hermits long ago were worse off. Oh, here, who's that coming up the hill? Oh, it's that policeman. And the woman with her dogs. Did I say hermits long ago were worse off? I must have been kidding. Oh, this is no use. I'm away home. Where's my rucksack? Quick, shove everything in. Here, I'll leave them the tin of beans. We can have that as a keepsake. Now, I'll just nip round this side where they can't see me, and away I go. Well, it was worth a try. And they say no experience is wasted. Anyway, I can meditate perfectly well in my own bedroom at home. At least there's nobody to bother me. And if I want to commune with nature, there's always the budgie.
That story, The Quiet Life by E.R. Marshall, was read by Robert Trotter.